Good morning and a happy Tuesday to you, Mountain Family. I'm Amelia Lee here with you on this July 1st. It's 4:59 this morning and time to check on in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall today. Megan, I didn't think it was too hot yesterday. Of course, anything above 70 for me is broiling. On the grand scheme of things, it didn't seem that bad.
Yeah, you know, it's a little bit better than those upper 90s that we saw last week, so anything is better than that, but it was still a little bit warmer than what we're to see today. In fact, we're gonna have a significant temperature drop as we head into the afternoon. First though, let's talk about that fog as you're heading out the door this morning. Just be careful, we're having some patches of dense fog as you're traveling in and out throughout the region. And we have a little bit of that rain still out and about. Lightning is going on with that main cell as you head just towards Jackson. So we're keeping our eyes out for that as we head through the next couple hours. Here's a look at those temperatures. Same thing we've been seeing this past week. Basically, those 70s is what you can expect as you head out the door. Some places are a little bit warmer than we've been seeing, those 76 in Prestonsburg, 75 in Monticello. And here is the good news. Forecast high temperatures are in the low 80s for most of the region. This is a nice change, so I'm definitely looking forward to that as we're heading into that 4 o'clock time frame. Here's a look at Tuesday's forecast. You'll notice that those chances of rain are really going to pick up as we're heading into those afternoon hours, dropping us down to our overnight low temperatures tonight. Amelia.
One person is dead after a shooting in Daviess County. Around midnight yesterday, police were called to an apartment complex in Owensboro. They say they found two people who had been shot in the chest. A man who was shot in the chest was found in a bedroom but later died after he was taken to the hospital. A woman who was shot and found in the living room of the apartment was taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Neither of their names have yet to be released. The house was destroyed by a fire in Wayne County, West Virginia. It happened last Friday near Beach Fork Road. A fire also destroyed two homes in Kanawha County, West Virginia. Just after 5:30 yesterday morning, crews were called to a home on the 1000 block of Kanawha Street. Firefighters say the fire spread to the house next door. It's not known what caused either one of those fires. The trial for Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson resumed yesterday morning for its second week. They both faced charges of conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence in the presumed death of Crystal Rogers. A former co-worker of Joseph Lawson testified that Lawson said no one would ever find Rogers' body and he planned to remove her teeth and, quote, let the hogs do the rest. Two witnesses have also said they heard Lawson discuss moving a body. Stephen Lawson, Joseph's father, was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder last month in a separate trial. This trial is expected to last a few more days. Brian Coberger has agreed to plead guilty to murdering 4 University of Idaho students. It's part of a deal with prosecutors to avoid the death penalty. A change of plea hearing is set for Wednesday. The 30-year-old is accused of stabbing the students to death at a rental home near campus in November 2022. Coberger was arrested in Pennsylvania weeks after the killings. He'd been a criminal justice graduate student at Washington State University. A 7-year-old is dead after drowning at a Kentucky pool. The boy was found unresponsive at a swimming pool at the Paradise Cove Aquatic Center in Richmond. A witness says lifeguards did everything they could to help, including performing CPR. The pool will stay closed for an undetermined amount of time. The victim's body is being taken to Frankfurt for an autopsy. The American Red Cross provides tips on how to swim safely this summer. They say to swim in designated areas supervised by lifeguards and to always swim with a buddy. They say avoid distractions and provide constant attention to children that you're supervising in the water. You're advised to stay within an arm's reach of any weak or unexperienced swimmers. Young children or inexperienced swimmers should wear U.S. Coast Guard approved life jackets around water, but the Red Cross says you should not rely on life jackets alone. Well, officials are reminding Kentuckians that annual Medicaid renewals for children in Kentucky starts today. After a 5-year pause of annual renewals, Kentucky Voices for Health officials are hoping to remind parents to go through with the renewal process to ensure that your child is covered.
We need families to continue to complete those renewal forms, make sure that they're keeping their kids covered, enrolled in Medicaid. And as we learn more, we need to advocate with our legislators to make sure that these programs stay fully funded. But no family should be discouraged from, completing the renewal process.
Officials say to monitor your mail daily for paperwork. For more information, you can go to our story at WIMT.com. The Consumer Federation of America reports that insurance rates are climbing as the cost of weather disasters in the U.S. grows. In Kentucky, insurance premiums are up 35% from 2021. And if costs are going up, you'll want to make sure your policy fully covers storm impacts on your property before the next storm hits. Alexa Minton reports.
Think about what you saw in the news, or you might think about your neighbors and say, what if that happens to me? What coverage do I have on here?
Kentuckians have already seen deadly and devastating storm impacts this year, with the state having 3 major disaster declarations. And as many start the long process of rebuilding, the last thing they want is to be concerned about proper insurance coverage when filing a claim.
Once a claim happens, it's hard, and what you already have on paper is what you've got legal coverage for.
Local insurance agent Claude Singleton is encouraging people to take some time to find out what they are actually covered for when bad weather hits.
Just walk through those scenarios with your agent. It's a big deal. It's a bigger deal after the fact, and you're scrambling and asking questions.
Nationwide reports that hail and wind damage are the leading cause of insurance claims, stating that in 2021 they accounted for nearly 40% of all homeowners' claims. Singleton says, however, there could be exceptions and limitations, even high deductibles hidden within your policy.
A homeowner's policy varies greatly. There's a possibility that your policy has got a different deductible for wind and hail on your roof. Very possible. Flood is most often not on a policy. You have to have it added specially.
If you experience storm damage and are hoping to file a claim, take lots of pictures and keep all receipts of repairs and further damage mitigation efforts. But Singleton suggests reviewing things with an agent before the storm to reduce some of that stress felt in the event a storm does damage your property.
We have seen people in our state to be affected greatly, and perhaps use that as a lesson for yourself. Take a few minutes, won't take long. You can look through the policy yourself, but asking for help from that agent would be helpful.
In Lexington, Alexa Minton, WKYT.
For more information on potential storm damage policy loopholes, you can find this story on our website, WIMT.com. Well, tariffs are having some impact on the cost of fireworks this 4th of July, but some retailers say they're not feeling any tariff-related strain. That's because the larger retailers were able to buy their supplies from manufacturers in China before those tariffs went into effect. One business in Bullitt County has a lot of prices on items that were comparable to last year. The owner says that's because his inventory shipped before the tariffs hit in April.
If you have a big enough business that you started ordering in December, January, February, March, and all that before the tariffs hit, then it didn't affect much. But some of the guys out there that run one location, one tent, or one store, or stuff like that, they don't even order their stuff till May. Well, those guys got hit hard.
Buying American-made fireworks is not really an option. According to the American Pyrotechnics Association, 99% of the consumer fireworks in the U.S. are manufactured in China. Well, several new laws go into effect today in Tennessee. One of them bans the use of Glock switches. These devices are used to convert regular pistols into automatic weapons. The new ban ensures harsh penalties for anyone caught with the device on a gun. It also expands the definition of a machine gun in the state. In addition, the new law expands penalties for felons found in possession of a gun in the state. Well, thank you for getting your day started with us on Mountain News this morning at 5:08.